Hey guys, let's go on a test drive. This time I'm just gonna monitor the pressure and see where it's at. So it still says 160, by the way. I gotta really give myself a little bit more space here. Expand the driveway a little bit. So anyways, I think we'll just monitor how long I've been driving according to my timer on that video clip. So right now it's at 50 seconds. So I'm curious to find out, like, what's it going to take for it to warm up. So now that we're actually driving, okay, we have my ride height is a little bit too high. I'm gonna set it normal height. So temperature right now is at 178. So it's 180. So I'm gonna do a similar drive. I'm just gonna drive to the neighborhood, find out how quickly the temperature will rise, if it's actually going to start overheating. I do have actually 2 gallons of distilled with me. I got my pressure tester kit with me. So everything I need, I have it. So you gotta be always prepared for these things, because technically this is a very finicky vehicle. It's easy to let an air pocket in, but with the radiator leaking like it was, when I applied pressure, it just let extra air out, which was a good thing, along with some water, and that ended up actually going some of the radiator, that little hole. Now, I believe the way it's kind of like working is the same way I explained it in other videos. When you apply pressure to the system, it finds the weakest point, and then it expands that point to the point where it starts leaking. And it wasn't leaking there before, because when things are cold, they contract, and when they're hot, they expand. Whether it's plastic, wood, metal, doesn't really matter. So ultimately, when I expand it and it does start leaking at that moment, well, this is when the stop leak kicks in, and then it seals the system, which is good. Okay, temporary solution, which is good, and I have already shown and proven to you guys that it does work. And it's been working for the last 21,000 miles, 397. And I don't have any more issues with it overheating. Just so you know, I had like some concerns, obviously, with the overflow tank leaking, and of course radiator leaking, but then it would seal it up, which happened recently, and then unsealed it. Now, I did have some issues at 10,000 miles, and that's when I actually decided to replace the thermostat. So right now I don't have any thermostat. So what I've done is I installed the actual thermostat, and when I did that, I did not pressurize the system. I did not do any of that. Part of the reason why I did not pressurize the system is because I was actually thinking that it's going to expand the hole too much. It's going to open things up a little bit. It's going to start leaking sooner than later. And this is why I did not use the system. However, I did have it. And in the very first videos, I was actually renting it. And then I ordered one on Amazon. It came in like a couple days. So believe it or not, man, this system, I overpaid. I paid like 118 bucks for it. Right now it's for 40 bucks. And I'm just like wondering, like, what do I do? Should I just like provide a link to you guys for that system? I may just go ahead and do that. I don't really know if Amazon still does that, the affiliate links type of thing, but it used to be very easy to create these affiliate links, so it may just be a normal type of link, because I don't really need to have an affiliate link. I just need, you know, some kind of link where you could follow and get it, because I'm thinking like, should I get one more? It's just $40. What if something fails? What if this is a temporary sale? So I'm very how should I say, tempted when it comes to that. But anyways, I would like to address the temperature at this point. So we're at 205 degrees, which is quite normal. The normal operating temperature is between 195 and 220. Okay, so you really don't want to be driving with anything more than that, because there's going to be like some issues. Now I have seen it rise as much as 135, and I just shut things off. But at 135, the temperature needle did not even shift. So it is not that sensitive to that temperature, apparently. So this is why I have an external gauge where I could monitor the exact temperatures. And I'm basically telling you this because in case you're following this and you're trying to decide for yourself what's right, what's wrong, and maybe you have a external gauge yourself and then you're measuring these things, okay? So we had some changes. It went up to 207 and dropped down to 205. So it seems to me like it's finding its working place. Now, obviously the engine is at a proper operating temperature right now. So that is that. Just went up to 207, 205, 207, 205. And I think that's because sometimes I'm applying throttle and sometimes I'm not, just because I don't need to. I'm going just 45 here. But with this being said, I think it's important to be able to just pull over after some of this driving. And one of the good ideas would be just, shut it down. I just don't want to have to really shut it down in this neighborhood or anywhere when I'm not home, because at home at least I could do something about it if it doesn't start up again. Let's say I haven't had any issues with that happening now with this Range Rover, but just in case, and right now it's not concerning at all. The temperature is just fine. But the reason that I would like to shut things down is when it actually cools. If there's an air pocket or whatever, it needs more water, it's actually gonna suck the water in. It usually does that after 9 minutes, but that's that actually varies probably depending on how warm you got the engine. So if you just seen your, like if you were idling and you just noticed your temperature gauge, let's say, started moving towards the high side, without the temperature electronic temperature gauge being connected to it, because in the beginning I did not have it. But if you don't have it connected, you only have the normal temperature gauge to observe. So once it starts moving up, you shut the vehicle off, and then you just don't open the overflow tank or nothing. Just wait 9 minutes. When you wait 9 minutes, it's gonna start sucking the water down, and you could actually see that without even opening up the bottle. But then when it starts sucking it down, you need to observe, make sure it doesn't go too far. And then you start adding water and it traps that air pocket or something. So you want to start adding water right away. That way you could take that water to the proper place. But anyways, I just came to the Golf Country Club over here, that's next to me, and I'm simply going to just make a U-turn, go on the other side, and I want to observe things. I want to actually park. As I slow down, it's now 214 degrees, so it's now 216. So first I want to just observe things about what is actually happening as I'm parked. Now 217, it's normal. It could even go to 221. So now, let me show you the actual temperature gauge, and then depending on where things go, I want to step out and take a look at what's happening underneath. and I'll be able to tell you a little bit more. So I just now parked, and the final temperature reading was 225 Fahrenheit. As you can see, the water level is at cold fill. You see that line? The top line is the cold fill. Actually, yeah, that's just the range. So it's in between those two lines. That's what it's supposed to be for the cold. So obviously it's hot and it's going to be slightly higher. But you could tell it's not overheating, because if it would have overheated, this water would just all go up there. But let's take a look at this radiator. Obviously on this test drive, if it would have been leaking, it would have been leaking right here, and it's not. But you can see where the discoloration is, and that's where that is where it has dried, the radiator stop leak solution. And by the way, this is the thermostat location, and this thermostat location, it's easy to get to. You'll just have to pull the plastics off, but there's no thermostat inside because I peeled it out, as I mentioned it before. And also in this type of situation where I'm like testing things, and obviously with the radiator being well, it's no longer leaking. I mean, we could have an air pocket, but if it was starting to heat up and had a thermostat in there, it would be throwing off my test a little bit. This is why I need a baseline to see like what's normal. I would start thinking like, okay, like, well, maybe there's air trapped, and it's in a heater core, perhaps, and it's, you know, the water's not being able to circulate properly. But in this situation, I mean, I know that thermostat is always open, and if water needs to go there, it will go there. So anyways, I'll wait till it cools down. I'll just monitor the situation and see what happens with the water.